The opponent opts to send in Charizard into a loaded Lapras. A very interesting play from the opponent. Ty fires off the first Surf, forcing the first protection, then fire back to back, serving up that two-piece with Surf. Number 2, then Pidgeot comes in, fires off the Brave Bird, providing that soda on the side. Welcome back to the channel. Have you all forgotten about a Pokemon that used to be absolute top meta in the Ultra League? That Pokemon is named Lapras. It was so top meta that top content creators like Oxfordus used to run it with Giratina in a double ice strategy along with Articuno. homeslicehenry, I believe, actually became famous from Lapras. His first team to go viral was Gyarados, Giratina and Lapras. The synergy between Lapras and Giratina is incredible. Lapras doesn't want to see them fighting types or electric types, and Giratina, due to its Ghost Dragon typing, happens to resist both. On the flip side, Giratina doesn't want to see them dark types or fairies, and Lapras, due to its incredible bulk, really nice, quick, spammy, hard-hitting moveset, is able to outperform, therefore making them a very deadly duo. I personally used only Shadow Pokemon for almost 2 years, all the way from Season 7 to Season 13. So Giratina is a huge no for me, first because it doesn't come in Shadow form, and secondly because I hate basic bitch meta. Back when Ultra League Premier Classic was still a thing, I personally used Lapras as well, however I opted to pair it with a Shadow Nidoqueen. That is because Nidoqueen resists both electric and fighting, and Lapras resists both ice and water that Nidoqueen also does not want to see, making them also a deadly duo. Ty today is putting that Shadow Lapras, Shadow Nidoqueen core to work in this season's Open Ultra League. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. You will notice today that I have managed to yap through the first battle because some people said my intros have become a bit too long. So here it is. Nidoqueen manages to poison jab down Granbull and we're off to a 1-0 start. So getting into their full commentary in game number 2, we see a dreadful lead. Pidgeot into Regirock, but stay in school, kids. Learn to count. It's going to take Regirock 11 lock-ons to make the Stone Edge. Ty catches it onto Nidoqueen, drawing out Golisopod. Typing advantage is with the opponent. Our Nidoqueen is the king of the 2-shield in all neutral matchups due to that really annoying Poison Fang debuff effect. Ty looks to sack Nidoqueen. The opponent goes to the X's a bait. Nidoqueen shrugs off the damage and Ty is now able to take back switch. As I did yap through the battles, in case you're wondering, these battles were submitted to the channel by my good friend Ty, the king of entertainment. The opponent's final Pokemon is Trevenant, and holy smoke, switch advantage was important as we can now align Pidgeot with Trevenant, and Pidgeot walls all of this energy. The opponents then back out Regirock. Lapras not going to appreciate the Stone Edge, however its buddy over here, Pidgeot, going to apply that Feather Dance debuff effect, lowering Regirock's attack by 2 stages. Stone Edge tanked on the chin like an absolute champ from Pidgeot. Ty, not happy with a 2-stage debuff, going to apply Feather Dance number 2. We then see the pivot into Lapras. Both Lapras and Regirock can hit each other for super effective damage, however a 4-stage lowered attack. My god, that Focus Blast was pathetic. Ty farms up, throws the Surf on the CMP. Ty, we lose CMP. The Stone Edge also doesn't do a lot. Lapras looking very happy with its bulk here. We fire for Surf, forcing the first protection. The opponent then pivot out into Trevenant. Ty greets Trevenant with the Surf. Surf won't do a lot, but the Ice Shards will really chunk. The opponent opts to dump their energy. Ty gonna save his final Protect Shield for his annoying bird. We come into Pidgeot, commit to the full wing attack farm down. We're now in the 1-to-1 shield. The opponent send back out Regirock. Ty not baiting, full sending the Brave Bird. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. They near get one shot, and that's gonna be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. Pidgeot into Clefable, a fairly neutral matchup. Ty farms up energy, allowing Clefable to throw first. And hello, baby girl. Nice to see you as always, Ty. Getting spammed by Snapchats from his misses, but undeterred, he full sends the Brave Bird. Brave Bird near nukes this Clefable. We then see the pivot into Lapras. The opponent, with no immediate response, opt to chip us with the Moonblast and then send out Charizard. This is where Lapras really comes into its own. We see Walrien a lot more common, however that Ice Water type only has access to Icicle Sphere, which would only hit for neutral, whereas Lapras' Surf lands for heavy super effective damage. Ty, like an absolute boss, calls the bait. We're now at the back-to-back Surf. Ty opts to shield the second Dragon Claw, wanting to get off some heavy super effective damage. The opponent unwilling to tank the damage onto Charizard, invest that final shield. We then see the pivot into Nidoqueen. Ty's already been baited once. He respects the Blast Burn this time. The opponent full sends. The opponent then recognises they're going to get Poison Jab farmed all the way down. Pivot out into Swampert. Swampert's met with the Earth Power. Earth Power lands for huge damage. We fire off the Poison Fang. However, we lose CMP. Hydro Cannon vanquishes us back to our Pokeball. Both trainers have no protect shields, too high behind Ty, sends back out Pidgeot, goes straight for the Feather Dance, outpacing Swampert by a singular quick move. Feather Dance secures the knockout. Ty thinks about pivoting, he then stays in, Charizard comes back out, they reach the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw will be lethal, can Lapras sweep the remainder of the team. One Ice Shard takes care of Charizard. Back out comes Clefable and Lapras' bulk holds strong and Ty chalks up the dub. We see a dominating lead for Ty in the next battle. I've recently showcased Chestnut and I got along with Pidgeot and it is miserable. The opponent opt to stay in. They fire off the Super Power which lands for decent neutral damage. The opponent then looks to catch a Feather Dance onto Swampert. Ty farms up to maximum energy. He goes for a Master Bait and the opponent, like a savage, call it. However, then make a very nice catch, catching the Hydro Cannon onto Lapras. As if this already wasn't a bad matchup for Swampert. With a 2-stage lowered attack, this is going to be miserable. The opponent not helping their own cause, just committing to going straight Hydro Cannon, which definitely isn't the play. If you're running Earthquake, that is ideal. Even if you've got Sludge Wave, that's definitely the move to throw for. However, the opponent continuing to spam out Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. Ty farms up, fires off the Surf. Surf should be lethal. Holy smokes, we almost opened Snapchat. The opponent then send out Charizard into a loaded Lapras. The first Surf forces the first Protect Shield. Ty fires off the Surf back to back, serving up that 2-piece, forcing both Protect Shields. Pidgeot comes in, serving up that Soda that goes beautifully with a 2-piece combo meal. Brave Bird near one-shots. The opponent sends back out Chestnut. Chestnut gonna reach a charge move. Ty opting not to shield. We're going for that very rude 2-shield flex. Out comes Nidoqueen. We poison jab, farm down, back out comes Charizard. Ty actually opts not to 2-shield, however, 1 Blast Burn wouldn't have been lethal, but Ty respectfully puts up a shield and we take that game. Ty is the algorithm confirmed, back-to-back grass leads, you love to see it. The opponent pivot out into the flying Umbreon. Ty tanks the first move, the opponent full sends a Dark Pulse. This opponent likely to be running Dark Pulse and Aerial Ace. Perhaps it is Aerial Ace this season as it isn't that bad a move. We apply the debuff effect and then see the pivot into Lapras. Mandibuzz already hits like a wet noodle, however with 2-stage lowered attack, my god, it is absolutely pathetic. So I could farm this thing all the way down. The opponent now interestingly firing off Aerial Aces, which suggests to me that they're trying to stall out the clock. As Aerial Ace is cheaper than Dark Pulse, the opponent now does pivot, sending out Roserade, and Roserade gonna get met with the Skull Bash. Skull Bash goes unshielded with an Ice Shard farm down. Lapras absolutely popping off. The opponent says fuck the algorithm and concede the match. In the next battle we see Pidgeot into Swampert. Ty opts to stay in as Nidoqueen really doesn't want to see Swampert. Ty this time going straight for the Brave Bird. We lose CMP, which is advantageous for us as the Hydro Cannon will land on us before we lower our own defense. We full send. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Swampert near gets one shot, then stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We catch the Hydro Cannon onto Lapras where it does very minimal damage. The opponent now send out Venusaur. Ty looks to throw the Surf, looking for some chip damage on this Venusaur, but the opponent goes straight for the Frenzy Plant, winning CMP. Ty just completely sacks Venusaur and sends back out Pidgeot. Pidgeot gonna go again for the Brave Bird. Holy smokes, Ty full sending nuke after nuke. Another nuke lands. Let's fucking go. The opponent's final Pokemon is Charizard. This time Ty opts to go for the debuff effect with the Feather Dance. Feather Dance, force a protection. If the opponent was counting there, they'd know we are 1 wing attack short of a potential Brave Bird. However, we force a protect shield. Ty then calls the bait like an absolute savage. Ty making all the calls here. It's like he's using the PvP bot. I'm just kidding. I'm not even going to get started on that subject. We then shield and overheat. What the heck is going on? Back out comes Swampert. We get the resisted poison jab farm down and we take that game. Pidgeot into Mew. Ty's misses, giving him some more Snapchat love. This is something you don't see too commonly. However, does Mew respect the Brave Bird? Ty not baiting. Brave Bird near one-shots. We then look to catch a potential Wild Charge onto Nidoqueen. The opponent hold their energy, fire off the Flame Charge. We then see the pivot into Articuno. Much like Lapras, Articuno used to be a top meta threat in the early seasons. However, with the introduction of mon like Jellicent, Obstagoon, Walrien, etc., it has really fallen from grace. Ty, recognising he's not in a good position, just completely sacks Nidoqueen and sends out Lapras, looking for the aggressive Ice Shard farm down. The opponent farm up to a potential Hurricane. Ty, not interested in shielding, the opponent fires off the resisted or double resisted Icy Wind, and we get another concede. Moving on to the next one. Pidgeot into Tentacruel, the battle of the XL abusers. Again, we know Ty loves to full send the Brave Bird. Tentacruel so thick, but the opponent, to my absolute surprise, commit a Protect Shield. We then pivot out into Lapras and the opponent superstar on their response and sends out Charizard. Charizard by no means a great Lapras answer. The opponent instantly commit their final Protect Shield on the Surf Ty, willing to give up one shield, and we cement our very dominant position, correctly shielding up the Blast Burn. Ty then throws 2 Ice Shards and the Surf, which isn't optimal timing. However, as Surf does knock out, we do not take their wing attack damage, so it was the correct play in that scenario. Back out comes Tentacruel. Do they have Sludge Wave? No, they fire off the Scald. Scald doesn't do a lot of damage, however they do get the attack drop. Ty looks to reset his attack drop. Switching back out into Pidgeot, the opponent fires off yet another Scald, and the opponent again gets an attack drop. Holy smokes, this opponent getting some love from the RNG gods. Tentacruel fires off yet another Scald, securing the knockout on our bird. Ty now waits out his timer. Sends out Nidoqueen, the opponent pivots out into Tapu Fini, and this should be G to the G. We're going to fire off the Poison Fang. Poison Fang going to do big damage to Tapu Fini. Ty can easily shield this move up and Poison Jab down. I was going to say Earth Power, the Tentacruel, however Ty opts to save his final Protect Shield for Lapras. Lapras comes in, gets the Ice Shard farm down. We leave with the Skull Bash, but I don't know if Skull Bash is enough to knock out, is it? No, it's not. Ty, have you thrown this battle? The opponent gets the Poison Jab farm down. However, Nidoqueen manages the Poison Jab farm down Tentacruel, and we manage to take an incredibly close game. I think the much safer play there would have been to shield up the Surf, Poison Jab farm all the way down, outpace Tentacruel to the Earth Power, and that would have been a very easy dub. However, Ty is the king of entertainment, and we love to provide some heart racing and anxiety-filled moments, or at least Ty loves to give me an anxiety attack. However, I've got distracted, so getting back into the commentary, this opponent correctly shielded up a Brave Bird. We then pivoted out into Lapras, Swampert, fired off the Earthquake. Lapras shrugged it off like an absolute boss. The opponent then fire off the Hydro Cannon. The Hydro Cannon doesn't get the job done to Ty. Fires off the Surf. Surf doesn't knock out. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down, send out Trevenant. So this does explain why the opponent stayed in, as clearly they don't have a great answer for a Lapras safe switch. Ty now sends out Pidgeot. Pidgeot walls all of this energy. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball, which is double resisted. Pidgeot shrugs off the damage. Ty looks for the full wing attack farm down. We don't get it, so Ty forced to shield up the Seed Bomb. However, we are going to leave at 100 energy. The opponent still has one Protect Shield, 2 high behind, and Swampert available as a potential sack swap. The opponent send out their third Pokemon, which is a Shadow Lugia. We fire off the Feather Dance bait. Ty, the best Master Baiter in the world, we then throw one wing attack and the Brave Bird. Brave Bird going to land for heavy neutral damage. Ty anticipates the swap into Swampert. We get the Poison Jab farm down, and this should be game over. Ty looking for the full Poison Jab farm down. He's actually going to throw the BM Earth Power, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Pidgeot into Virizion, a great lead. The opponent safe switch into a Shadow Shiny Charizard. A very cool flex. Ty opting to go for a bait. A Shadow Charizard. Users love to shield everything. The opponent does get baited. We then pivot out into Lapras. Charizard farms up to 1 bazillion energy and very likely to fire off the Blast Burn. Ty tanks the first. Charizard then fires off the second. Again, Ty opts not to shield. The opponent full send another Blast Burn. Lapras just about survives and returns fire with the Surf. The opponent invests that Protect Shield. They're now all shields down. Ty has 2 Protect Shields, 2 high behind, and he sends in Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen likely to shield once. Poison Jab farm all the way down. Come on, Ty, please shield. The opponent full send another Blast Burn. Nidoqueen does get the Poison Jab farm down. Back out comes Virizion. This is by no means a good matchup for Virizion. However, it's better here than it is against Pidgeot. Ty lands the Poison Fang. We are going to respect the potential Leaf Blade. Does the opponent have it? Yes, they do. Ty looking for the Poison Jab farm down. The opponent realises they're going to get farmed down and send out Articuno. Ty fires off the Poison Fang, looking to lower Articuno's defense. We then see the pivot into Pidgeot. Pidgeot still has 1 Protect Shield, 2 high behind. We're going to shield up the Icy Wind. Icy Wind will be lowering Pidgeot's attack. However, no debuff will be saving this trainer. As they're a Shadow, we've got the Brave Bird. Brave Bird vanquishes Articuno. Back to their Pokeball. Back out comes Virizion. We wing attack farm down and take that game. Fuck my life, Pidgeot out here looking like a fantastic lead. Again, Ty wins lead. We fire off the Feather Dance, losing CMP. We respect the Sludge Bomb. The opponent full sends it. And I think as they've got shield advantage, they very likely don't shield this Feather Dance. Ty agrees, going for the undercharge. The opponent shields anyway and pivot out into Giratina. Ty firing off the debuff, and then we're likely to see the pivot into Lapras. The opponent recognises that that was only a Feather Dance, show no respect, and Ty makes a great catch. Catching the Ancient Power on Lapras. Ancient Power is super effective, but after that 2-stage lowered attack, like you've seen throughout the video, it does absolutely fuck all. Ty in a very dominant position, looking for the full Ice Shard farm down. The opponent going to make yet another Ancient Power, but Lapras does not care. Ty looks for the Ice Shard farm down, and we get it. If Toxicroak does return, Ty's got the back-to-back surfs locked and loaded. We fire off the first surf, forcing the final Protect Shield. The second surf going to land for decent neutral damage as Toxicroak is made like a piece of paper with 0 defense. We then come into Pidgeot. We get the wing attack farm down. The opponent send out their own Pidgeot. They've got no Protect Shields. Too high beyond. We full send the Brave Bird. Brave Bird lands for heavy neutral damage. We then pivot out into Nidoqueen. The opponent, recognising the game's over, don't throw a charge move, and Ty chalks up another very impressive dub. As always, a huge thank you to Ty for the incredible battle submission. It was great to see a classic core that I used to run in Ultra League Premier of Lapras and Nidoqueen, both in Shadow form, perform well in the Open Ultra League. So if you've also got these Pokemon built and haven't used them for a few seasons, maybe it's time to dust them off because they're looking very good in the current meta. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below, and as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.